And now we will quickly create the layout for our user to create a user. So let's open create.blade and extends our main layout, extends layouts.main, and we will use a section which is a content, and that section, and okay, here we will need to create add new user, same in the way that we have created in our companies. If I show you the layout, so let's log in. So in the same way that we have used in our create period or in a company, so add new company. So this is the same layout, and we will come back to our, can go back to our main page. So this is the same way that we have created in here, and we will do it for our create user. So first one with the first row and the column small 12 and the column small 8. So heading is add new user, and the div class small s4, and total become the 12 grid, so 8 and 4 plus 12. So style margin top 22 pixel, and this is going to the link user.index, and we have a button primary, button block all users, and we can view the index page from this way. If let's save it, and in our browser refresh, so we need to go to a user, so the root is not defined, and we have to give our in partial nav.blade.php. Here we will say where is the user, so this will be the root, is user dot index. Okay, save it, refresh. So this root will go to a user.index, and parse error syntax unexpected at here. Okay, return view termination error. We have not used a ternary. Close the statement, save it, refresh. So the index is blank, and we can fetch our create URI. So in a create class app.db not found, where it is. Okay, let's add db where it is expense app user dot correctly find user model, and we are using a db. Include this f5 to our namespace, save it, close, and let's refresh. So in a user slash create URI, we are creating a add new user, and it will, when we click on it, will go back to the index. So right now we have not created our index. We are in our create user. So come to your create. Okay. So we will require a div class with row, another row, and in that div we required a class column small 8 and column small offset 2, and in the under this column div we required a farm, and farm with class farm hori horizontal. Okay, let's create it. And okay, farm action will be this farm that we will send to our user.store method, and action root will be user.store, role is farm, and the method we will use a post method. Okay, let's include for CRS field to send the CRS token. So save it. Okay, the first field that will be required that we have used in our sign up. So if I show you to register dot php, so we have a field where to sign up, the name. So this day we will same the name field that we have already created. So I am not going to create right now because we have did it, and we can just copy this code and paste it. Okay, the first field will be the name, and the far is name, column small 2, and the column small 10 become the 12 grid system. And input type text value, and if there is old value we will display it. So class farm control name, the same thing that we have did a lot of in our company, create categories and sign up register farm. So if error has name, so display the name. Okay, save it and let's refresh our page that we are accessing the farm. So name. Okay. The second one will be the email. Okay. And the third one is the password for user to create a password. The fourth one will be phone. The fifth one will be city. Sixth one, address. Okay. Address. And the postal code, postcode. So save it. Save it and let's check our layout. Refresh. So we have a name, email, password, phone, city, address, and passcode, postal code. And let me copy first. So we will now require a status and the button to submit a form. So here we will define our rows that we will going to use in this. Okay, the status will be farm group status, and input select field will be class farm control ID is status, name is status. So we are giving default options, two options. So if it is active, we are sending a value on. If the user is deactive, we are sending a value of. So if I show you in a database where we have a user, so we have a status field where so status is off, by default is off. So we can send our form, the status field is on or off. So save it and let's check to our browser the layout. Okay, there are two status now, active and deactive, and we are submitting our form. So here we have to need to include our role. So we in a user table controller, so we are sending the all the user role from our user model. So we are fetching all the roles and sending it back to our user.create. So we will create a select in our create.model. So here let's copy this one. Let me copy the complete code. I will explain it shortly. So we have a div farm group just like that, and in a label we have a label role. So div class column small 10 in the same way that we have div class column small 12, and we have a select options. So in a select we are giving id role, name role, and on change. Let me delete this one. Okay, option default is choose role, and if I remove this, and we will fetch all the rows. Let's save it and see the layout first. So we have now choose role, and we can give the role. So let's fetch our roles. In our user controller, we are sending all the roles. And if we say if, we will use count to count the roles. If there are roles, count all the roles, and it's greater than 0. And let's end if, before end if, and let's now iterate by using a for each, and we will say roles as variable role, and here we will need to end this for each, and for each, and we will give our option, and the first one we will say the name of the role. So we use a blade and display a role and find the field name role, which is in our database roles. So we have a field is name. Okay, let's change it to name. Okay, role name, and we will send the ID of the role name. So role, and we'll send the ID. So save it. Let's check to our browser, refresh, and let's see we are all the rows, admin, manager, and user. So it will fetch all the rows from the table. Okay, so in next video we will do our jQuery and AJAX. Then we select our role. So we will find the companies and the departments of this company. Before that, let's submit this form. So we are submitting this form where we are submitting this form user.store, and in our user controller. So we have a user.store, and we allow request, and create a get this request, and let's write down this farm request. Okay, in a web.php, so user dot create, and now we are going using this user slash urite, and it goes to a store method with the user dot store. So we are submitting our farm use to user where it is user dot store. So let's submit this farm dummy data and check either this passing the parameter to our user dot store method. So test 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6, and choose the role admin, status active. Let's submit, and now we have getting the object request. So in a parameter bag, uh, where it is a request parameter bag, so we are getting the 10 array of objects: token, name is test, email test, password, phone, city, and address, the postal code, and a role. So role is id, not we are getting the exact id. Here is sorry, let's blade this syntax. Okay, save it. Let's refresh, resend the request again, and in a parameter bag, not in a request. So we have no, not yet id. Okay, refresh, test 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, choose the role admin, submit. In a request parameter bag, we have now id of admin role is 1. So we are successfully getting the request from our user layout. So we will now submit this request to our farm. So before submit, we have to ensure that we are using the AJAX request, and where we will get our companies and the related department by using JQuery AJAX. And before sending a JQuery AJAX, so first we need to show, okay, okay, let's create our AJAX request, then we'll do it. So I'll see you in the next video. So stay tuned.